everyone, it's Heidi Fang, and the NFL Draft is just about 2 weeks away. The Raiders hold the 6th overall pick, and the Vegas Nation team and I are here to help you navigate what direction they may go and to discuss what positions they need to fill. Here's our own Vinny Bonsignor joining me now. We're going to get into all of these things that the Raiders have going on in this year's draft. First of all, Vinny, the Raiders have new coaches in place. Pete Carroll, though, has had a long history in the NFL. We know about the talent that he has an eye for, specifically when we talk about cornerbacks and defensive backs. What does that tell you, if anything, about the direction that he may go in this draft?
Well, you got to throw John Spytek in there as well. The new general manager who has a long history working for some great organizations, the Denver Broncos, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers most recently. And I think it's important, you mentioned that they had the 6th pick. They also have picks right at the top, basically, of every round thereafter. They have 9 picks total, and I think that's important to remember. We always get fixated on that first round pick, which is obviously important. So number 6, you want an impact player. But as Pete Carroll showed in Seattle, and certainly John Spytek with the organizations that he was a part of, you have to hit not all of your picks, but when you have 9 picks like the Raiders do, there's a good chance that they could get 4 starters out there. So definitely be focused on that first round pick at number 6. But then also be just as equally focused on picks in the 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, because that's where the meat of this draft is going to be. And so if they draft a running back, let's say at number 6, don't think for a second that they're not going to, at some point, turn to the defense where Pete Carroll, kind of cuts his teeth, whether it's cornerback, linebacker, defensive lineman. There's enough picks in this draft for the Raiders to really hit on a lot of different needs.
What would you say, though, the direction is? I know you said maybe running back, maybe this. What do you really feel like the path may lead them towards in that first round?
Well, are you going to tell me who the first 5 picks of the draft are going to be right now?
Well, you have Travis Hunter, you have Cam Ward, you have Abdul Carter.
But I think the issue here is, and I'm not trying to dodge the question.
Sure.
The issue is you don't know who's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's going to be a lot of different options for the Raiders, and some compelling scenarios where they do go Ashton Jeanty, a running back, a little bit higher than some people like to draft a running back. Our own Adam Hill is in that in that group.
Yeah.
But no guarantee that he's even going to be there, or that there might not be a Shedeur Sanders that's there at number 6, a Mason Graham, the defensive tackle for Michigan, Will Johnson, the great cornerback from Michigan. There's going to be a lot of options, and that's why it's hard to say right now, 2 weeks out, let alone on draft night, what exactly the Raiders are going to do, what direction they're going to take when you don't know where the draft is going to unfold or how the draft is going to unfold ahead of them. That's the key to this whole thing. But I'll say this. I think the Raiders are in really good hands to be flexible, to deal with whatever the scenario might be, whether that's Shedeur making a decision between Shedeur Sanders, Ashton Jeanty, and Will Johnson, let's say. Whether it's, feel like they can get who they want with the 9th pick or the 12th pick. To maybe trade down. There's going to be, especially if Shedeur Sanders is there at number 6 and the Raiders aren't necessarily interested in picking him, there will be a team behind them that I think would pony up what it might take to move to number 6 to make sure they get Shedeur Sanders. So this thing can go in a lot of different directions. I think what they want to do is get an impact player. That's the key. An impact player that's going to help them immediately win football games in 2025, whether that's Ashton Jeanty, whether that's Mason Graham, whether that's Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan. One of those 3 players. I would also throw Jalen Walker, the linebacker from Georgia, in there as well. But somebody that's going to help them immediately, I think, is who they're going to pick with wherever they end up drafting in that first round.
All right. We're going to get into some more here right now with this show and toss it over to our own Adam Hill, our NFL writer. Let's get into who he thinks and some of the prospects that may be the best fit for the Raiders at number 6.
The Raiders are 6th in the upcoming NFL draft. We have our final mock in the Review Journal and at vegasnation.com. And there's going to be a lot of options for the Raiders with that 6th pick. I've been saying it's a 5-player draft, but that's because there's 3 really elite players and 2 quarterbacks near the top of the draft. But if Shedeur Sanders, one of those 5 players, falls, that creates a lot of possibilities. There might be a lot of interest in teams that want to move up to take Shedeur Sanders, allowing the Raiders the opportunity to move down, which I think would be the right move. They could also just take Shedeur Sanders and have a quarterback of the future to develop behind Geno Smith. If they stay at 6, I feel like the consensus pick of Ashton Jeanty might be the play, but running backs just don't carry that much value now, so I don't know if that's wise. I'd much rather pick Ashton Jeanty at 9 or a guy like Jihad Campbell, who I think is a tremendous fit for this team at 9 if the Saints were to say move up to that 6th pick and trade with the Raiders. So a lot of possibilities that are all going to be dependent really on what happens with Shedeur Sanders on draft night. He right now is the key to the whole first round of the draft, and we'll see that indicated in our mock draft coming up.
Thanks, Adam. Keep up with our latest mock drafts on VegasNation.com. And now Vegas Nation's Dominic Lavoie brings you the latest social buzz involving a top prospect in this year's draft.
Now, one name that's been connected to the Raiders since before the pre-draft process started is Shedeur Sanders, fueled even more by this photo right here. Sanders linking up with the new Raiders quarterback in Geno Smith. So what other Raiders connections does Shedeur Sanders have? Well, last summer at the WNBA Las Vegas Aces game, he was in Las Vegas talking to Raiders owner Mark Davis, and Mark Davis said, hey, you might be home right here and now. But he's even been connected to a minority owner for the Silver and Black, Tom Brady. He worked out with Brady at one point, and he also has an NIL deal with Tom Brady. So now all eyes are on Shedeur Sanders as he is expected to visit Las Vegas and visit the Las Vegas Raiders for a top 30 pre-draft visit. BetMGM has 18-1 odds listed on the Colorado quarterback to hear his name called 6th overall by Las Vegas. We're ultimately going to have to wait to see if, one, the Raiders select Shedeur Sanders at 6 to try and grab a young quarterback of the future.
The first round of the NFL Draft starts on April 24th and will last through Saturday, April 26th. We'll be with you for all of it with interviews, recaps, and live streams from Raiders headquarters all throughout the draft. So make sure to keep it tuned to VegasNation.com for all of your Raiders news. For the Vegas Nation team, I'm Heidi Fang. Thank you so much for watching.